Oh, dude, that's really interesting. I didn't realize that as a calling guest, like I couldn't hear any of that played audio.
Yeah, that's actually a mix thing that I did. I turned Winamp way down for you guys because otherwise it would keep ducking you. So I can turn it up a little bit more. But yeah, but now we're in the after show. Hey, welcome to the after show. Good show, everybody. That was a lot of fun.
Dude, good game.
So angry about the audio thing.
Oh, stop. It's fine. Is that a yes man? Is that an errant yes man I hear?
Yeah.
S man. Yes. Not S man. The yes man. Do you know an S man? Ah, dang. I thought we would have met our Hispanic to be counterpoint S man.
I mean, haven't we? Come on, this episode touched on enough groups that we don't need with.
Oh my goodness. Well, good show, everybody. Let's take a look at nightattack.showbot.tv, which is where the episode titles are that everybody has submitted all episode, including you gave my fucking Emmy away.
Hard yes on that one.
We've got Hey Stoss. Another libertarian recording video from his car. All right, that's.
Yeah, I know. I'll tell you what, Brian. If you want to bang out a couple quick vids for Fox Nation. Yeah, if you just want to let us know your thoughts on AOC, you could probably pick up a couple extra $100.
Is that a thing?
Oh,
No,
yeah.
that was the thing. I think really it was like the Facebook kind of like the rise of like conservative Facebook videos. But Tommy Lauren, I think, really got famous for doing it, where it was just like her in her car, like being like, "Let me tell you, snowflakes a little something. Snowflakes melt in the sun, and I'm a sunball from hell that I'm melting all of you snowflakes. You're water now because that's what your tears are, lip tears." And then that would, 9,000 billion views. And then, the dude from the Young Turks would do a video where he broke it down, and that would do another 8 million. And that was pretty much culture from 2010 to 2015.
That's amazing.
We've also got God Rewards Brian's procrastination.
Yeah.
Oh, we forgot to clear this, so there are some cord killers ones in here, like the T-Bongle. How did Brian get out
Like
of this
to buy
one?
the world of Pope.
Yes, another cord killer. Quarter of a way to an EGOT. That's pretty good.
Yep.
When you wish upon a Stoss. Pretty good one.
There was one that as soon as I see it, I'll know it. But there was one that to me was one of the funniest things I've read.
The government said Brian Brushwood met John Stossel at the Austin Airport. Gorilla Timber, hot dog and bun situation.
That's a pretty good one.
Night Attack
Scarred.
gets an Emmy.
Air quotes.
Yeah. Let's see. Getting through these cord killers ones. It's fine. No, wait, that's some more cord killers ones. Come on, y'all. Hell is a Ford Explorer.
Yeah, you guys had really great things on cord killers. All right, fine.
Apparently, I need to listen to that Cord Killer episode.
Yeah, live from the Ford Explorer.
The Ford Inquisition.
I think Hey Stoss to me is the logical melding of both the Hey Boss
Free iPad.
Stossling.
Free iPad. Click here.
Free iPad low-key is really fun.
P-Loop. I don't remember P-Loop. Oh, from the...
Yeah.
Not all binos. That's a pretty funny one. A gelatinous mass. Gelatinous ass.
I remember listening to last week's Night Attack and listening to Brian explaining his non-plan for Disney and thinking,
God, it gave me anxiety.
But I was thinking, oh, yeah, what a moron. Who doesn't plan his vacations in advance like that? And I remembered every single vacation I've ever taken and went, oh no, that's also me.
Yeah.
Every time.
There is something that just got triggered in people, Brian. Like, I'm sure you saw it up and down your Twitter.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
Well,
and beneath the reaction, the horrified, like, oh my God, hand in the stove kind of reaction, like, oh my God, there's also this sort of latent, no, I hope you have a shitty vacation. Be like you
No.
need righteous retribution.
What?
Like,
No.
Justin, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
I don't think that there are certain things that trigger irrational, like, feelings in people. Food, one of them, right? Like,
Yeah.
so that's why, for whatever reason, I brought this up on Twitter over the weekend. Garrett Weinzero from the Angry Chicken and so many other awesome things. He says, "Oh, I finally had the Popeyes chicken sandwich. It lives up to the hype." Now, I recently had the Popeyes chicken sandwich, but I hadn't tweeted about it. I hadn't talked about it on any of the things because I thought it was kind of underwhelming. But what I found out is that a lot of the flavor comes from the mayonnaise. I got it without mayonnaise because I don't like mayonnaise, and so therefore it was not that great of a sandwich. So I put that up. For the rest of the day, what are all the replies? Mayo's the best. Mayo's delicious. You're eating your fucking. I'm like, my tweet was like, hey, look, in the non-mayo division, I would still say that the Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich was #1. I was specifying, look, for this specific category. No, doesn't matter. People understood what I was saying, and they just wanted to get their mayo takes at me. I am totally with Brian. I absolutely believe that there were people for whom planning is sacrosanct. It is a lifestyle for a reason, and they need social proof. It might not be their best moment on earth, but they want social proof.
I will say also on top of that, everything about the Disney ecosystem rewards planners. They desperately, if you're not a planner, they're going to highly incentivize you to fake being a planner. Like the whole fast pass system and all that shit, where it's like, no, are you sure you don't want to? Okay, well, I'm going to punish you. Do you know what the ratio is from for normies versus fast planners or fast passers? 4 fast pass people go through for every one person who's a normie. Then if the line gets long enough in the fast pass, they go to 8 people, then they go to 10 people, and then if the line in fast pass gets long enough, they go to 10 plus 10. They go to 20 to 1. They allow 20 fast passers in for every one normie who goes through there. Everything about this ecosystem is designed to reward
Well, and also,
planning.
I think also part of it, especially given that environment, I know you hate waiting in line and like being in a queue. And Disney's the perfect place to set yourself up to avoid that, I would imagine. I'd imagine.
I mean, so here's the thing. Fun fact about the fast passes, about planning in advance.
Hey, wait, hold. Let me just pause this just to set up for people who may not have been to Disney. The fast pass, you might think in your head, means you just get to go in your own special line, and that indeed is semi-true. What you actually have to do is when you get to the ride, it will either say, okay, cool, we have space for you right now, but on the popular rides, you have to wait until a certain time to go. So your tickets are not valid until a certain time window. So when Brian says it incentivizes planning, he means that it does incentivize you either on the app or wherever to say like, okay, well, we're doing Magic Kingdom, which means we got to do this ride, then this ride, then this ride, then this ride, then this ride. Or for the really popular ones, you got to revolve your entire day around, okay, we got to be at the Haunted Mansion at 3:00 because that's when our fast passes are.
Yes. And man, oh man, do they incentivize that kind of behavior and thought process and so on. Shoot. What was the question?
I was just saying that it seems like that would help cut down on the lines, which I know you don't like.
Yeah, because I'm realizing now this is a real conundrum, this fast pass thing.
It's a paradox.
Thing that Brian loves skipping the line, willing to pay a premium for it. Things that Brian hates, being told when he has to do something.
100%. Right. And it does, because if you are somebody who loves to pre-plan stuff, then congratulations. You're going to enjoy your perception of privilege status every single ride that you go on. However, if you're somebody who values the illusion of being able to go wherever you want at any time, I'm somebody who can easily, it's much easier for me to decide that what's most interesting is the least interesting or the least popular ride. Like that's easier for me to do than to plan and go do the thing in advance. It's been challenging, especially yesterday. There was a certain ride that that is outside of the Fast Pass ecosystem, that the only way to even get to go do it involves getting up at 6 in the goddamn morning and pulling up all 3 of your kids and getting inside and signing in and whatever, so that you can get a boarding pass for later in the day, maybe, or whatever. And then maybe getting up at 6 in the goddamn morning and going and doing this thing and then getting the pass or whatever. You find yourself at 7:30 at night, right before 8 o'clock when they're about to close. And then after 2 hours in line, like everybody else, they just announce that the ride's broke. Please go home.
Oh no!
Wow.
Wow, that is brutal.
Yeah.
This has to be the new one, right? The one.
The new one. Yeah. No, that was the new one.
So before we get into that, can we let's lock down a title really quick. Hey, Stoss is very good, but it gives away the Stossel thing. But you gave my fucking Emmy away. Also, kind of gives away
I
the
like
Emmy?
you gave my fucking Emmy away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
No,
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
All right, we'll do that. Thank you to TBZ Gun and everyone who submits show titles using the Bang S command in the chat room. All right, I'm gonna write an email while you guys talk more about whatever this mysterious Disney ride might be.
Yeah, so like this is me trying to play by the rules. This is me not trying to, hey boss, I actually get up, I actually move the family out, I actually sign up for the thing, I actually do the whole thing, and then we actually sit in line for about 90 minutes, and then they close everything down and send everybody home right at park close. And then on the way out, they're all like, oh, don't worry, we're gonna charm your magic bands or whatever. And I'm like, what am I getting? What is this? Right. And they're like, well, you get park entry for tomorrow and a fast pass to whatever you want. And I'm like, okay, but what if I want to ride this ride? And they're like, oh, I suppose you could use your Magic Anywhere fast pass on this ride. And I'm like, okay, now we're talking. I'll see you later. I go to leave, and there is, suffice to say, a fairly long line to guest relations of fairly upset individuals who have all gotten up, because not one person in that line just showed up at the last minute. Every single one. To get into the line, you had to get up at 6 in the morning and be there in the first 20 minutes at 7 in the morning, in the goddamn morning, right? And so I'm like, all right, peace out, going to bed. We go to bed. We get up the next day because we know we're going to get to ride the new ride. We come back like, I don't know, 9:30, 10 o'clock today. And on my way in, I go to guest relations and I say, hey, I was part of that disaster last night. And they're like, okay, what do you want? And I was like, well, our original plan was to, do a park hopper, have everybody do a free for all or whatever, but we can't do that because now we're obligated to spend half the day here to do the one ride. What say you just give us free Epcots? and they're like, well, let me go talk. And they leave and they come back. And between the lines, what she said was basically a version of, tell me the story I need to tell my supervisor to justify giving you free Epcot. And so I explained very carefully, okay, we were supposed to have park hopper all day today, but you have eaten up half our day. And now the best I can hope for is paying for a full day of park hopper but instead spend half of it here doing the shit that we were supposed to do yesterday.
Yeah.
And she was like, great. Beep, boop, 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 boop. Who's got Epcot's? You guys do. So I hey boss today at Epcot.
Dude, that's
Anyway,
fun.
that ride is great. It's a great ride. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, you wound up going on Rise of the Resistance, the brand new Star Wars ride that is gotten rave reviews. I mean, the reviews on it are awesome, and you say thumbs up.
Not only did we go on it, but specifically like it is notorious for, number one, nobody who works for the organization can get a free pass to the park. We got a free pass to the park. Second of all, there does not exist a fast pass to this ride.
Yeah,
we got a fast pass to this ride.
Yeah.
and we did it this morning.
I feel like you had more of a thrill out of getting all these perks than the actual ride.
I mean, look, if you
am I wrong?
I might have recorded us walking through all the empty lines in the fast pass, and I might be able to send you a video of all that.
We were at Disney a couple years ago, 2 years ago, but it was the year that they opened up the Avatar world. And so Flight of Passage is the Avatar world, the big ride there. That was the best ride in Disney, I guess, before Rise of the Resistance opened. And at that time, the line was 5 hours. Like, we woke up early, but we had the hookup. The Diamond Club is Legion, and it rewards its own. We skipped the line, and I love Flight of Passage. I think Flight of Passage is a phenomenal. It's worth the trip out there to go on it kind of ride. It was not as good as skipping a 5 hour line. Skipping a 5 hour line is a primal rush of endorphins that I can't, even as I talk to you, put into full artistic brilliance.
Well, there's a market for somewhere. There's a market for an amusement park that's just filled with mediocre rides that trick you into thinking you'll be waiting forever for them, but then also trick you into thinking you've skipped that line. Like, just actors
all the cast
that wait in
members
line
are
that
just
you
in line.
go.
Yeah.
Exactly. You pay a premium for the joy of just skipping in front of all these actors.
Here is the reason why I think that would be an amazing idea. When Rushwood was doing Horror Nights, they have all these haunted houses set up, and these lines would go for hours, especially the ones that had a good reputation. They would be a 2 hour, 3 hour wait for some of these haunted houses. But because Brushwood was performing, I'm hanging with Brushwood. It was just boogie right on into any of them. And my favorite experience, all were great. Skipping all those lines were great. But my favorite experience was on the way out. I could just be like, that one kind of sucked.
Because you dare not say that after spending 3 hours.
I just know for a fact that I was given a gift, the ability to be like, that kind of sucked, because I know either I would not let myself believe it sucked if I had waited that long, or I would just be furious that I had wasted 3 hours of my life for something that I eventually found subpar. So the fact that I could just pop it up like, could have been better. that was the zenith. That was the best feeling.
But how great would it be to just be able to come back from an amusement park and people ask you, hey, how were the rides? The rides were okay, but hear me out. Like, I got to skip this line that just went around the park. Just being able to tell that story makes it worth it.
It was fun. We Mark Hartwell joined us for our day at Magic Kingdom, and we went to Space Mountain, and we got in line, and like, I think one of my kids said, "Oh my gosh, it looks like we're almost there," and he goes, "Yes, that's the Space Mountain effect," and we all looked at him, and he was like, "At no point during this entire queue will you not be convinced that that we're about to be on the ride." And sure enough, the entire queue is designed so that at any given moment you are convinced, like, oh my gosh, we're almost there, but you are not. You are exactly 90 minutes away the entire time.
My first real job was at an amusement park, and I cannot imagine working at Disney. Like, that's got to be terrifying.
I mean, it's everybody that I've ever known that's worked at Disney. You are one small part of this gigantic, well orchestrated kind of
Right.
machine, right? I'll tell you what, though, every time that I've been to Disney World, Diamond Club runs deep at Disney.
Goddamn right. I felt it.
There's
I know exactly where I would park at Disney because of people I know that are
Yep.
in the community.
Mhm.
Fitch asked if you got a lightsaber. Did you do the lightsaber thing?
No, not so much. I mean, to be honest, hey, here's a fun fact. I have a reputation for constantly spoiling things. Here's all I will say about Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. It's very good. You should go in not knowing a goddamn thing.
Oh, there we go. Check that out.
All right. So
Disney.com.
how many weeks before it just comes tumbling out? It's eventually
One.
gonna come tumbling out. All
One.
Did
I mean,
you
if
do
you
any of the
wanna
other
hear
Star
it.
Wars stuff, like the bar or the Make a Droid thing?
No.
You can say no. I don't care.
We did Smugglers Run, and that is infinitely more fun when you are connected to the rest of your group. Justin and I talked about this because Justin was disappointed with the game, and I remember positing that it is directly proportional to the number of people that you have a connection to. And let me tell you, with a family of 5 coming in, and it's like the dumbest role of gunner where you just hit one stupid button, giving that to our 7-year-old who was super happy because she got to have the satisfaction of blowing stuff up, was great. And then me and Josie piloting, not gonna lie, totally took the seat where you get to pull hyperdrive and all that stuff. One of you gets to go left, right, the other goes up, down.
Yeah.
It was a fucking blast. Everything about it was great. Man, none of it holds a candle to Rise of the Resistance.
Wow.
Truly the best. It is without reservation the best theme park experience of any variety I've had in my entire life.
Can
That's all.
I just also point this out to the listeners? Brian is so excited about this ride that he literally just shot into the group chat that he has with Bryce and I, and just like rolled in as if he was saying, "How are you guys doing? How are you feeling? Just, hey, this ride's good. Can I spoil it for you?" Like, that was a real text message sent. Was just like, as soon as like a hi, what's going on, guys? It's just, hey, would you like me to spoil this theme park ride? Huh?
Well,
Any takers?
Specifically, there are people who want to know what it's about, what the fuss is all about, who don't care, who actually, don't mind spoilage. And then like that was me attempting to get a self-selection on you guys of which camp you're in. Are you somebody who perceives this as a present that you're going to unwrap for yourself in the future, in which case that's cool, I won't talk about it. But if you are of the variety of like, convince me I should get excited, then boy, oh boy, do I have a story to tell you.
Yeah. Well, we'll text later because I don't know when I'm going to Disney next. So,
Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like Disney's been very coy about it. Like the ads I've seen online, I can see a lot of visuals and images, but none of them, like, it takes a little footwork to know that this is a ride, and I don't even know what kind of ride it is based on their advertisements. So I feel like there's a significant reveal there.
Yeah, and I am convinced that a major portion of the joy that I experienced was because I rode the ride not knowing a damn thing about it.
The one thing I will ask, Brian, I will indulge you, is, have you done the Spider-Man or the Transformers rides at Universal?
Sure.
I guess more. Well, I guess they're both kind of the same. But But is it that format of like screen plus physical things around you and physically moving you through a thing, or is it all screen?
How can I put this?
Is it of that genre?
I feel like I would be doing the experience a disservice to say yes, because it would imply that the totality of it is anywhere in the same category as those rides. It's not even in the same category.
I'm not trying to quantify its brilliance or anything. Like I'm just looking for, in general, if it's like Back to the Future, where it's you looking at a screen and moving around, or Smugglers Run, which is like Back to the Future, which is essentially a ride where you're looking at a screen and moving around, except now you're the one moving it. Obviously, that's a quantum leap forward in what you are doing, but technically it's the same genre. Anyway, we can talk later.
I feel so old because the only reference I have is like Star Tours. None of what you just said makes any sense to me.
Star Tours is a different version of it where the screen is just always right up on your face and you're just
and you're shaking in your seat and stuff. Like it's not terribly interactive.
I think it's on one of the. I'm sure it's on the Blu-ray too, but I know it was on the DVD collection for Back to the Future. They had the actual movie track for the old Back to the Future ride in Universal Studios, so you could actually like play through it.
Oh man, that is scrambling for features. Like it's very desperate.
That is a ride that is near and dear to my heart.
Oh yeah, you're from Florida, so I suspect that all of this stuff has deep ties.
It's probably why I don't want it spoiled, because I am definitely going to be back in Florida because my family lives there, and I'm definitely going to go on this ride.
Do you guys want to do some outtakes from the game?
I would.
Sorry, say that again, Bryce?
You guys want to do some outtakes from the game?
Sure.
Because we got the Golf House, who they just left, found a lot of these, and they're all really good. We can just do kind of a speed round thing.
Go for it.
I thought that a blowjob meant blank. I thought a blowjob meant blank.
Literally blowing on genitals?
Yeah.
That sounds.
I think that's when you get your hair blow dried, at the salon.
When you blow air in a boy's general direction.
Excellent.
Believe
that sounds
me,
way easier.
Yeah, but believe me, the rewards aren't there.
Okay. I had been told when it is hot and sunny, you should wear white so you don't get hot. So logically, I concluded that blank.
You wear black when it's cold.
Oh, yeah.
Close.
How about that?
I'm in.
Pretty close. I logically concluded that when it rained, you just needed to wear black and wouldn't get wet.
Okay, bit of a stretch on that one.
All right, I don't. That's very weird.
Here we go. I thought that the Underground Railroad was blank.
Subway.
Like literally underground. Like literally a tunnel between America and Canada.
I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't think that as a child, since nobody bothers to.
They don't explain what it is.
I don't remember at any moment people saying the Underground Railroad, comma, by the way, that's a metaphorical underground, not an actual underground. Nobody ever says that.
Right.
I mean, it really is one of those coffee talk, like the Underground Railroad beside the Underground
Railroad. Discuss. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. A literal secret underground subway-style steam engine that Harriet Tubman was the conductor of.
Oh, wow, that went way more specific than I thought it would.
Pretty awesome to think it's just like pulling the whistle.
Yeah, it's like choo choo, motherfuckers, to freedom we go.
Maybe all these slave masters are like, do you hear that, Margaret? Oh, it must be the bull weevils again.
Bing bong. Oh, that's the alert of freedom.
All I can think of is Harriet Tubman on whatever bill you guys decide to put her on with like your conductor's hat.
Oh yeah,
Great.
exactly. And then of course motto: stand clear of the closing doors, please.
My uncle is a priest for an obscure Hindu offshoot religion, and he told me quite young that I shouldn't play sports because blank. I shouldn't play sport because blank.
Because
I
they
don't
would-
want to speak because it's going to be racist.
They would make him gay? Question mark?
Or homophobe.
All right,
Wow.
that's an idea. Any other quick thoughts?
Wait, hurry, say it again.
My uncle is a priest for an obscure Hindu offshoot religion, and he told me quite young that I shouldn't play sport because blank.
It would make you infertile?
Closer than making you gay. We'll play hot cold.
Um,
I want to hear Amy's thoughts on
I
that.
don't even know.
yeah, it.
I don't
Yeah.
think you guys aren't gonna get this one. I don't think.
No.
Just give it to us. Yeah.
He told me quite young that I shouldn't play sports because each person only gets a set number of breaths in their life, and getting out of breath used them up quicker.
Oh.
Holy crap, that is.
No,
that's
there's actually a number of people like think about it. A friend of mine, he as a kid is like, raising and lowering windows with the power windows, and his dad said, look, there's only so many times the up and the down is going to work, and every time you do it, you're taking one away, so that means eventually the window's going to break faster.
I mean, not seems technically correct. It's I mean, it like they're humans do have like a certain number of like heartbeats in their lives, so I guess raising your
I'm
heart
not
rate
sure that's
technically.
real.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Because
Isn't it?
I mean, you go to the gym to increase the tolerance of your
Yeah.
cardiovascular system so that you
and-
get you buy more of these
Right.
heartbeats and breaths.
So,
Like,
so,
not,
so to Bryce's point, like, yes, there is a finite number of heartbeats you have, but the fastest way to get more heartbeats is to go to the gym and work out.
Spend
Counterintuitive.
more
when you work
So
out,
yes,
you
you're gonna
spend more
burn
heartbeats.
more of them, right?
Because when
but
you go to
you're
save
earning
Zelda, if
many,
you don't have
many
enough
more.
heartbeats, then
Listen, you got to spend
Yeah.
money to make money. So here
Exactly.
we are.
Yeah, okay, fine.
It's a love beat.
here's a good one. I used to think that when you finished a grade in primary school, blank. I used to think
Say again.
once you finished a grade in primary school, blank.
You
got older.
allowed. I thought it was just you were allowed life or death rights over whoever was a lower grade than you are.
No, that's just true.
That one's just
Oh.
facts.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, your school was hardcore.
Yeah, it was rough.
America.
No, I think you get older.
You get older, all right.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll back that one up, I guess.
Be like your birthday. Like you
Yeah,
would.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
perfect.
Yeah.
You thought a
But
little
if I
wacky.
was 6.
Yeah,
must be
I kind
7
of-
next year.
I don't know. I the only other thought I have is that you get something. There's some sort of physical commendation or something like that.
I'm standing firm on my murder track.
Alright.
Flippy428 says, I used to think that once you finished a grade in primary school, you became smarter than the teacher of that grade.
Oh,
That's great.
that's
You
great.
absorbed their
So-
knowledge and made them a part of you.
A cute harpy in reply says, the first thing that I thought, which is just like Pokemon gym leaders.
That's amazing. That's pretty good.
Like the boss fight.
That's the best way of
here's
eating your brains.
I thought that cruise control in the car only worked blank. I thought that cruise control in the car only worked blank.
When there were other people in the car.
Okay, that's an idea. I think that's in the same ballpark of the right one. Anybody else?
Only worked if you closed your eyes.
The safest roads.
Any other thoughts?
No, I went with the chat room that it's near water. That was where I immediately went.
Oh, cruise. Take a cruise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3-hour tour. All right, Pickerington says, I thought that cruise control in the car only worked on straight roads, as it locked the steering of the car into only going straight.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Pretty good one. Cruise control is a weird thing because it seems really easy, but if you've never used it, then you're like I before I used cruise control on a long drive, I was like, I don't know how this works. I hope that I can just hit these buttons and figure it out on this long drive. And then you use it, and then it's like, and then it works. But
I think it's just actually it's like the opposite. It's so simple, but the expectations are so high. Like all it does is just lock your speed, but that's not what it implies to a certain degree. Like there's so many expectations. Oh, cruise control is gonna make
I gotta
driving
get a map.
so easy.
I gotta plot out my map and put it into the computer.
Yeah, unfold it. Yeah.
I will tell you what, I've only recently gotten back into using cruise control because my last car didn't have it.
Oh.
And so I would just be so used to putting my foot down for 9 hours or whatever, like if I was going to Atlanta from South Florida, that I just never used it. And then even when I was on the road for the Go game, I would get these cars with cruise control, but it would just never occur to me that I would use them. And then when I would realize that it was on there, I'd be like, ooh, whatever, these fancy. Oh, look at the fancy lads that need their cruise control. Not me and old Foot McGee here. We do it the fashion way.
To your defense, cruise control is never just like push a button and it happens. Like it's always like push a button, pull down the lever, sacrifice a hamster, say a prayer to Vishnu. It's like it's always so much more complex than it needs to be. At least on my car it is.
There's just never a moment where you get it on the first try. There's always that moment where.
Well, and specifically, there's never a moment that you're certain it's working.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the only way you know it's working is when you hit speed up and you feel it speed up. That's the only way to know that cruise control is on.
Yeah.
But the first time you do it, you're always doing that, like you lose 5 miles per hour, like in front of some other car. Realize,
Yes.
I guess this isn't working. Let me put my foot back on. Foot McGirt. There we go.
Oh, and then
true.
Once it does work, you take your foot off and you're like, oh, because it does keep it steady. Oh my gosh.
Like how many people behind me am I pissing off by engaging this device?
Exactly. By fiddling with the all right, set it to ready. Please, now the Secretary of Defense will crack his code.
Everybody turn your keys simultaneously.
Yeah.
Here's a good one. I thought you either had an innie or outie belly button, depending on blank.
How fat you were.
How fat you were? Okay.
Yeah, I can't think of a better one.
You either had an innie or outie belly button, depending on blank.
Either that or gender.
Whether
Yeah,
you're
I was gonna go
evil or
with gender.
good.
Yeah.
Gender, okay.
No, I'm going D&D rules. If good or evil.
All right.
Does this tie into the butt birth?
Depending on if you're partially deaf or not. The Door 87 says you either had an innie or outie belly button, depending on how good the doctor was at tying the knot.
Wow.
Like getting married?
All right.
That's right.
Can
It's marriage status.
Can I confess something?
Please.
Before I started dating Bonnie, she kind of casually stated, and I later realized that this was like, me walking in on the last part of a joke. She casually stated that down in the Rio Grande Valley, they did an experiment where instead of tying off belly buttons, they actually cut them and then stitched them closed. And so for the first like 2 or 3 months I knew Bonnie, I was just told she didn't have a belly button, and I believed it. And then at some point I saw a belly button and I was like, wait, you got a belly button? She was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then I had to remind her of that moment, and I was the big dumb dummy. So my thing that I thought as a kid happened when I was 19.
Brian,
Yeah.
we're done with the show. That's better than that. I would like to thank our guests, Amy Frost and JF Tubo. Everybody go ahead and get Ake Willow right now. Bryce, thank you so much for being our conductor and connecting so many different cameras here. Brian, don't worry. We will free you from your word-enabled prison. Thank you to everybody watching. We will see you guys next week.
Love you guys.